It's me again, and I'm happy, privileged, excited to be sharing the lessons that I'm learning from the book of Proverbs. And this today it's about Proverbs 13 to 15. And reading through the chapters of this book, I'm seeing so many verses that I've read before, and some that definitely resonate with my soul. But I also remind myself that they aren't lessons necessarily promises or laws, but guidance for living wisely or living a wise life. So here's some of the things that I learned here. Money is only a small part of both wealth and poverty. A person may be rich materially but lack wisdom. In Proverbs, great riches aren't measured by money. Growing in wisdom is often associated with suffering. While it may not be always the case, but suffering certainly gives us a chance to learn lessons. And when you learn lessons, you become wise. I know that's true for myself because sometimes when I find myself in like difficult situation of going through suffering is when I'm like, yes, this is what I should have known. So I think that's what the lesson that those verses were trying to teach us. In 13:12, it says, hope deferred makes a heart sick. But when the desire comes, it is a tree of life. Now, I've heard this so many times, but today was the day that I was able to really dig deep to get the meaning, especially of the second part. Now, delayed fulfillment can cause physical and spiritual disappointment, dissatisfaction, and even depression. But the realization of hope gives encouragement, just like a tree that gives life. Get it? It brings renewed vitality to the body or the spirit. So if something is not coming through and is making you depressed, at the very, do you remember that verse? At the very smell of water, the tree comes to life. So at the very smell of the hope of achieving it, and you are revitalized. How amazing is that? Now, 13:24 speaks about disciplining children. Now, we know God is our Father that loves us, and God does discipline his children because the Bible says that he disciplines those that he loves. So, and he disciplines us for our own good so that we may share in his holiness and learn to live wisely. So as parents, I believe that we're also called, just like God, to discipline children. Overlooking faults, ignoring disobedience, and refusing to administer discipline influences children negatively, and it allows them to exercise their self-will and let that control their behavior, control their lives and actions ultimately, and that's always a no-no. Love is the balance and tempering force in discipline. So disciplining in love, it is the greatest motivation for it. So loving your child should be the reason why you discipline them, basically, is what it says. Chapter 14 provides some new insight into wisdom. In verse 4, it says, where no oxen are, the trough is clean, but much increase comes by the strength of an ox. Now, I thought about this, for a while. I went back to read it again. And simply put, where there is no progress, there's no problem. Your trough is clean. So if you're doing the same things, living, basically the way I interpreted it was living in your own comfort zone. Nice, easy, no ruffled feathers, nothing out of place. But disturbance is necessary for growth and accomplishment. Selah. Human wisdom is folly and the way to death. In 14:12, the way that seems right to a man is the path that he or she determines to be right without regard for God. Now that verse says there's a way that seems right unto a man, but the end of it is death or destruction, right? The path of life is submissive obedience to God's will. That's the wisdom. That's it. So anything that you regard as your path that is devoid of God or disregarding of God and his statutes is a way to death. That's it. Point blank, period. The central theme for chapter 15 is wisdom in speaking, in speech and in words. I gleaned so much from it. There were so many verses that just spoke about the things that we say with our mouth and the things that concern our tongue. We've seen this before, but here in this chapter, it's in much more detail. A person's words The tongue that speaks them and the heart that conceives them tell a lot about the person. Now in verse 1, it says a soft answer turns away wrath. And the soft answer here, I believe, refers to this fruit of the Spirit. So gentleness, love, patience, long suffering. So from that will come the soft answer. To open our mouths with wisdom requires study. Verse 28 says, the heart of the righteous studies how to answer, but the mouth of the wicked pours forth evil. A wise person thinks carefully by studying other people, pondering situations, and the impact of potential words before even answering. For me, I just put a stick. This is self-control, definitely. So, not reacting, but evaluating stuff before saying things is also an act of wisdom. And here's where I got my #lessons, getting to know God lesson today. It's all about nearness to God, and nearness to God really matters in the long run. Our hearts receive peace from nearness to God. It doesn't mean that life will be easy, but we can trust that God sees us and hears us as his children who draw close to him. In 15:29, it says, the Lord is far from the wicked, but he hears the prayers of the righteous. Ask God to draw you near to him today and see the difference it will make in your life. Thank you for joining me. I'm loving Proverbs. I hope you are. And tomorrow we'll continue with lessons from Proverbs 16 to 18. Have a good day. Bye.